Girl, you know you need to call me. All right, I love you. Bye.
Hey family, welcome to Call Me When You Make It. I'm Jayla.
And I'm Tamala, and we are the mother-daughter duo that you never knew you needed.
Welcome to episode 10. We are officially in the double digits.
Wow.
And I'm really excited. We made it.
10
episodes. It might not seem like a lot, but 10 is it's a pretty big deal, I think. Especially because you guys know we don't live in the same city, so we have to get kind of creative with our filming schedule and stuff. So I'm excited. Thank you again for tuning in and just sticking with us through the journey. We really do appreciate it.
We do. We're very thankful.
Very, very, very. So today's episode is going to be a good one. I'm really excited to get into this because this is something that I feel like we talk about a lot, and it's something that I talk about a lot with my friends too. We are getting into beauty standards. We're going to talk about self-esteem, body image. We're going to just get into it. So first, we kind of want to go back a little bit and just get into beauty standards and how they've changed over time, because it's crazy how beauty standards, they kind of go in cycles almost, it seems like. And so I'm curious, like, for you growing up as like a young woman, a young adult, what were some of like your first impressions of beauty standards, or like what was the beauty standard growing up?
So, growing up, first of all, there was no internet and, social media and things like that. So we had to, we had magazines and commercials. That's what we looked at. That was all we had, really. And so it was, we would look at those and see, like, all these, what we thought was perfect, all these perfect images, and the makeup was in there, and all these girls that looked, what we thought was perfect, and this was the standard that we went by. And we had people like, Cindy Crawford and what's her name with the eyebrows? It's not coming to me. I can't think of her name.
I don't know.
Anyway, people like that. All these models, all these supermodels. But there were, there was Iman and, people like that. But again, these people that we thought were perfect, these supermodels, tall, skinny, but they were in the magazines. Again, we always turned to the magazines. So that's what we had, in commercials. So that was what we looked to. Yeah.
Besides like the body type, because you said like, tall, skinny, we all know like that's the model-esque figure. Do you feel like it was more so like white women being pushed a lot, or do you feel like there was some representation for like black women and women of color too? Because I feel like that's changed a lot over time.
Not a lot. Like, we didn't have a lot. There was more of the, white women. It was we had like maybe a small, very small, like a handful of beautiful black women to look to for, to stand for what a black woman should,
like that standard.
Yeah, just that standard.
Where would you see that? Like, would you see it on TV? Would you see it in magazines? Like, where would
So we had like Ebony magazine, and we had Jet magazine. Those were like our go-to. Oh, and Essence.
I was gonna say, was Essence out there?
So we had Essence magazine. We had like those three magazines, and of course, shout out to my mom, because she always made sure we had those magazines.
She always had those
she
magazines.
She had the spread.
She did.
She had those. And so, making sure that we looked at those.
Yeah.
So I did refer to those. So it was, good to see that.
Yeah.
But so, if within your household, your parents were making sure that you looked to that. So I did see that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's interesting because even like for me, I feel like it was kind of similar. Like growing up as a kid, like as, you know, elementary school, middle school, I feel like the beauty standards were very similar. Like there wasn't a whole lot of representation. I mean, there was more. Like, you know, we had BET, MTV. We had a lot more like black entertainers that were looked at as like a beauty standard. But when it came to like commercial, like what's in your face, like on billboards, on TV, it was usually like, you know, Eurocentric features, like white women, very tall, very skinny. I also feel like I actually did a report on this back in 8th grade on eating disorders.
I remember that.
And the effect of like media consumption and like model culture and like how it affects young girls and, you know, all of that.
And it does. And
that was really interesting because that was also along with the same time that America's Next Top Model was out. Do you remember when that premiered?
Yes, that was our show.
That was our show.
That was our show. We watched that religiously. Like we did not miss a episode. Like that was our show.
I remember when the first season premiered. That one, it was like, we were into that, but it, like when the second season premiered, like when it was Eva, when it was Takara, Jocelyn, like when it was like further seasons, that's when we were like really into it.
That was our show.
But it's interesting though too, because there's been a lot of discourse about America's Next Top Model too, because there was some things that were said and done that were pretty damaging. But it was also just such a different time. Like back then it was just different. Like we didn't necessarily have the, it's not even so much the knowledge, it was just, I don't know, just a different era. Like
let me just jump in and say real quick, but also know as viewers, you know, we're watching these shows for entertainment and we don't realize what's going on behind the scenes and that, you know, these girls there's damage that's occurring. Of course, we don't know all this when we're watching it for entertainment purposes.
And I think we also, as a viewer, you don't always realize like the subconscious kind of damage that it's doing to you. Because like even for me, as a young girl, like I wasn't watching it fully aware, like this isn't really healthy. Like
and of course as your mother, I wasn't thinking
and
of
it's like
that.
They're sitting here calling girls like plus size and they're like a size 6. Like that's crazy. But when you're watching it and like you're in it, you don't really recognize that. But it's like, to fast forward to now, we're just more well aware of those things and the impacts that it has for sure.
And we know that's not healthy.
So
it's
like
not healthy mental.
For me, you know, just like I was saying, growing up, very similar as far as the beauty standard. I feel like that was the beauty standard for a long time. Just like Eurocentric features, you know, white women are very fair skin, or racially ambiguous, like that kind of thing. Tall, skinny, that was it. Like if you're tall and skinny, you're it. Like you're the it girl. And I feel like it wasn't until I got into like middle school, high school, college, that's when I started noticing like, okay, beauty standards are changing a bit, especially for Black women and in Black culture. Because like I said, then at that point, you know, we have BET, we have MTV, but we also have social media coming into play. We have reality TV coming into play. And now there's this shift of like, no, we actually like a little more meat on the bones. We actually like, you know, a butt and some boobs and some body. Like, so that was kind of different.
So you start seeing more people that look like us.
Yeah.
You know, there's color.
Yeah.
And different shades of color.
Yeah.
Which
we're going to get into that
later.
So that was an interesting shift too, just to kind of see it go from one extreme to another, I guess. And even now, like I think about the beauty standards that are happening like right now in 2025, even they're changing kind of like before our eyes, because I think when you look at, you know, BBL culture and like, you know, the surgery and the filler and all that, which we're going to get into in a second. I feel like even that is changing, which personally I think is for the best, because I think it kind of got a little out of control. And so I'm hoping that we're getting into an era where we are embracing natural features, natural bodies, and just being more inclusive. Like, it's one of those things where it's like our society is probably always going to have beauty standards. Like, that's always going to be a thing, but I'm just hoping that it's broadened more over time.
Yeah, I agree. It's kind of like, I'm not sure who had this slogan, but maybe you remember, like, love the skin you're in.
That was Dove, I think.
Okay.
I think that was Dove, yeah.
Shout out to Dove, and which I use every day. I love Dove. I love Dove. I love Dove. And I do.
They've always been very inclusive. I made up
a new slogan for Dove.
They've always been very inclusive.
No, I have always used Dove since I was a little girl.
Yeah.
My mom uses Dove, so we grew up using Dove, right? Yeah. And you know, I remember when I first started getting a little acne on my forehead, and you know, my mom took me to the dermatologist, and she's like, "Use Dove; it's the best soap," you know. Mm-hmm. But no, shout out to Dove all across the board, because they I love that slogan, love the skin you're in. And that to me is the best slogan ever, because that's really the bottom line. Like, can you just love what God gave you?
Yeah. And this is not sponsored, by the way. It could be, but
no, I mean, that's just me talking.
That's
just me talking.
Right.
That's just me, literally. No, I'm just saying. Yeah. That's just me talking.
I do love that slogan.
Remember, I didn't remember who made it up. Jayla remembered for me, but I'm just saying. I feel like, you know, embrace what you have, you know, obviously I've always had a lot behind me, and, you know, it's crazy because people have asked me, where'd you get literally somebody asked me that, where did I have my work done and all that. I'm like, what? I'm like, honey, this, I was born with this.
Yeah.
I'm like, for real?
It's crazy.
It's insane. People have asked you that?
Yeah.
Well, because that's crazy.
No, especially working in plastics, because I worked for plastic surgeons for 3 years. And so especially being in a plastic surgery office and just people knowing that, I think a lot of people just automatically assume like, okay, you work for a surgeon, so of course you've had work done. So people have asked me if I had Botox, filler, if I got my boobs done, if I got my butt done, if I like all these different things.
Oh, and my favorite was when I went to your job and the lady asked me, did I have a facelift?
A facelift, yes.
That happened. I went to her job.
And then she asked me, because she was like in disbelief. She's like, I don't think
she didn't believe me, so she asked
like,
you.
She was like, how old is your mom? Or she asked me
she
something.
She thought I was lying.
She thought you were.
That's crazy.
She was like, has your mom ever got any work done? I was like, girl, no.
That's insane.
I was like, she's never had anything done. Like, no.
People are
it's
something
so funny.
else.
But that brings me to, let's just dive into plastic surgery while we're here, right?
Wow.
Because, like I said, I worked in the plastic surgery industry for 3 years. And I will say, for me, it's a very, it's kind of a double-edged sword in a way, and it's like I see both sides of it.
Right.
So, for example, one of the surgeons I worked for, she was a general plastic surgeon, but she also specialized in reconstruction. So we would have like breast cancer patients who would come in, and they would come in for like breast reconstruction surgery. And I also, I've seen surgeries done for when people get into accidents or burn victims, like things like that. So it's like, I know that plastic surgery can be used for good. You know what I mean?
I understand that.
Yeah. So it's like, I understand. And even if you haven't been in an accident, or it's just like, there's just something that you want to fix or you want to enhance about yourself.
Right.
My thing is, I'm pro, do what you want to do.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Same.
Like,
Again, no judgment. It's your body. I'm not saying, hey, nobody should ever do it. I'm not saying that. It is your body, and you get to do with what you want with it.
Yeah, I think.
But again, I'm just, me personally, I just feel like number one, I think I'd be scared to do anything.
Well, here's the thing.
Too scary.
I think it's about like boundaries and balance, because there's like so many things I want to say. But first thing I will say is, when, like, I think back to when I was working in the plastic surgery offices, and it's like, okay, you have people coming in, maybe they want to do a little nip tuck, a little tweak here and there, whatever, that's fine. Like, if you want to do that, I say do. Because my thing too is I'm like, I look at it kind of like, think about people who get braces. Like I had braces as a kid. Is that not like a cosmetic procedure technically? Like you don't really get braces for like health reasons generally. Like you could maybe, but like for me, it was because my teeth are crooked and I have a gap. I want braces. Like, you know what I'm saying? I feel like
we just don't do crooked teeth. I feel like,
but I'm saying that's a choice though. Like that's a cosmetic thing.
But I don't know. We just don't do crooked teeth in our family though.
But I'm
sorry.
Like, but I'm saying
we don't do it.
But that's my point, is that somebody could be like, well, I don't want a crooked nose, or I don't want, you know what I'm saying? Like people.
Well, okay. Yeah, I get
so
that.
that's why, like, I don't, I look at it from a point of like, if there's something you want to change or enhance, I get that, because I've been there, and I use, my teeth are like such a prime example. I never looked at it like that
I just never looked at crooked teeth as an option.
I guess me either, but it's one of those things where it's like, yeah, like if you, some people just are like, whatever, I don't care. Or, some people can't afford it, or you know what I'm saying?
Okay.
It's like, it's not
I
always.
guess I never looked at it as a cosmetic situation. I always looked at it like, you have crooked teeth, you have to get braces.
No. Because it's like, just like I said, sometimes people can't afford it, or sometimes people just don't mind. They're like,
okay, well, yeah.
So I look at it kind of like that, where it's like, that was something for me that I was like, please, I want to fix this. Like, I can't go through life
we weren't doing it.
My teeth like this.
Don't worry, it wasn't going to happen.
So I feel like if there was something else that I felt that way about, I would consider getting it fixed. But I think, again, you have to have a balance though, because I think there's some times where like people would come in at like my old jobs, and it's like they almost get addicted to it, where it's like you're starting to see the teeniest little and it's like you're starting to see stuff that people can't even see. Like you're starting to,
that's when they start getting like that body dysmorphia type stuff,
and then it's like you're starting to get a little bit too addicted. That's what they start calling like filler blindness, like when people get their lips done and it's like, okay, this looks crazy, but to them it doesn't look crazy. To them, they're like, oh, this is what I want, but from the outside looking in, it's like, no, like that, let's calm it down. So I think
so that brings me to a question, and maybe you could help me with this since you work with the doctors. At what point, and I mean, I guess it's because they want the money, at what point is it the doctor's job to say, you're looking crazy? I mean, I'm just saying, like, they know these people look crazy.
Well, that's the thing. I think it comes down to,
like, come on,
ethics at that point, because one of the doctors I worked for, she was very adamant, like, if somebody would come in and their lips looked crazy, and they were like, oh, I want to add more, she'd be like, no, you need to dissolve. Like, this act, you look insane.
Like as a
obviously,
doctor,
she would say it professionally, but like, she would refuse procedures on people.
Good for her.
Which I thought was admirable, because
I think that is great for her.
Yeah.
Whoever she was, shout out to her, because to me, it would be just like, okay, when you go to, a primary care doctor, for your health care, and you go in and you say you want, I don't know, something done that doesn't need to be done. Mm-hmm. And they say, well, you don't need that. You know, they would tell you don't need it.
Yeah.
Same type of thing.
But some doctors, they don't really care.
Yeah,
it's
because
just
they're like, oh, I'm going to get paid. Okay, sure.
And it's like, if you want it,
fill it on up.
So it just depends on the doctor, honestly, and I feel like it's just more so
it's really just, about the money, and hey, if you want it, they're going to do it.
Yeah.
Type thing. Okay.
Yeah. So it's one of those things. It's an ethical thing, because I feel like, as a surgeon, as an injector, whatever, if you see a patient coming in and they look crazy,
I think
you should tell them that.
Responsibility to say, hey, let's kind of, I think you should stop. And just, let's stop. You look great now.
Yeah.
In a nice way.
Of
don't make them feel bad about it.
There's a way to be
There's
professional.
a way to, like, keep it professional and say, hey, you know what, you look really good right now.
Yeah.
Let's kind of keep it right. Keep it how it is now.
Yeah. And I also, my thing too is, when it comes to plastic surgery and just like even these more like non-invasive type of procedures like Botox, like filler, again, there's nothing necessarily wrong with these procedures, and it's like, in moderate doses, they can have great results. I get all of that. But I think we need to get realistic about these procedures, because I feel like now that these things are so normalized, people don't really talk about or think about the risks. And I also feel like these procedures are starting to be done younger and younger. Like, even at my old jobs, they would call it like prejuvenation, and you have like 18-year-olds coming in to get Botox, and it's like, with what wrinkles? Like, I don't, some stuff is just like a little ridiculous in my opinion. Like, I just don't understand why an 18-year-old needs to come in and get Botox. Like, you're 18. Like, I don't, what? And so it's just, so that's a little bit concerning, because it's just like, you know, girls that age are already so like young and impressionable and insecure. And so the fact that you're like going in and like getting these things done so early is a little concerning. And also, again, the fact that everything is so like normalized now is like, oh yeah, I'm just gonna like get a surgery, or I'm just gonna go get some filler, and you really aren't thinking about the risks like that. Because that's the other thing, is working in plastics. I think a lot of people, again, assume that I was getting stuff done, or that it's just like no big deal. And I was like, actually, for me, working in plastics turned me off of getting anything done, because I just saw
and then
so
talking
much.
to you about it, because remember, well, now, and I'm not ashamed to say this, I used to say I wanted a specific procedure done.
Yeah.
And now that you have worked in plastics, I don't.
Yeah.
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 So that's a real thing. Yeah. I used to say I wanted something done.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I'm good.
No, it turned me off just
to you talk about
just
things.
because.
Like, okay, that's okay.
Yeah, just because, for one, I have seen some of the complications that can happen with surgery. I'm seeing the recovery process that some of these surgeries take. Like, it's not all glitz and glam. And don't get me wrong, sometimes the results can come out good. But when I'm looking at people come in for their post-op appointments, and then I'm seeing people come in for complications. This got infected. They had to get rushed to the ER. Like, it's just too much. And I was like, honestly, I personally don't have anything on my body that I'm like, I'll risk it for that. I just don't. I'm like, I'll go to the gym and we'll take it from there. Like, I just personally, even like going under anesthesia, like, there was actually a case at one of my jobs where there was a woman who got multiple procedures done, and it ended up being like a 10 or 12 hours surgery. And it's very dangerous to be under anesthesia for that long of a time. Like, you're not supposed to be doing that, really. But she was, and she had a lot of complications after that. Luckily, she was okay. I mean, I don't really know what happened, like, after, but stuff like that is, like, scary to me. So it's just, again, if you're considering plastic surgery, I'm not here to tell you what to do with your body, and I'm not here to even, like, deter you from getting surgery. I'm just saying, for me personally, it's something that I would have to really, like, this is, like, I have to do this. And at this point in my life, I don't have anything that I'm like, I need to do this. I need to, like, risk it. And along with that, another thing that I have to point out and that I have to talk about when it comes to plastic surgery is we got to talk about BBLs, because I feel like we all know BBL culture has been like a big thing over the last like 10 or so years, probably like 15 years at this point. And again, it's one of those things where you want to get a BBL, that is your prerogative. I get not all of us have the genetics and the body type that gives us that, so I get it. But ladies, getting a BBL is the most dangerous plastic surgery you can ever get. Like, I'm not saying that to like scare you, it's a true fact. So if you're considering getting a BBL, please just do extensive research. Do extensive research on the procedure itself, on the doctor that you're going to, on the recovery. Like, you're risking your life. Like, I'm not trying to scare you, but it's just like, I really want women to think about these things before they go under the knife. Because I feel like people, like, look at these things as so, like, laxative, like, so casual is the word I'm looking for. Like, just very casual. Like, yeah, I'm just going to go get surgery.
Pop in and get it done.
And it's like, it's not casual. Like, you are risking your life.
Well,
like, please.
there's I'm not sure which platform it was on, but we watched a documentary on that. And remember, the girls were dying. Do you remember that?
Not really. What was this?
This is when you came to visit, when I was
Recently?
living at the other house. Yeah, recently. There were girls and they were dying. One was about to die and one actually died. You don't remember. But it's okay. But there was a documentary and it was about girls that were getting BBLs, and they were actually following actual girls. There was like, I think 3 of them. And 2
I think
were
we didn't finish.
We didn't finish.
That's what it was.
So
yeah.
I don't know what happened to 2 of the girls, but yeah, it was so sad. And these girls had children. Some of them. These girls have families. It was sad. Do you want to risk all that? I don't think I would care that much about if my stomach is big and if my how my body looks. Like Jayla said, I'll just start walking and going to the gym. Yeah. I care how my body looks, but not at the risk of, my family going to my funeral.
Yeah, I'm not risking my life.
I want to be here for my kids.
Yeah, I agree. So I just wanted to really reiterate that because, again, it's your body and you're going to do what you want with it. Of course they will. And if you're considering plastic surgery.
Again, no judgment.
Yeah.
But I just think that's so sad and scary.
I just really want people to think twice.
Yeah, do your research. Make sure that doctor is top notch and, hey. And even then, even if he is, there's still complications. He or she, yes. Yeah. It's very risky. Yeah. It's a risky procedure.
So just something to think about.
Yeah.
Just something to think about.
Yeah.
What else do we want to get into with... Do you have anything else about plastic surgery? I think I said everything I wanted to say about that. I think
so.
So now, kind of changing gears, I wanted to talk about colorism, and then you wanted to talk about like hair, and we're going to get into texturism and things like that. So colorism. I guess I kind of want to hear like your side of things and like growing up, because obviously we have different experiences.
Different ends of the spectrum.
Yeah. So like growing up for you, how was that? Because it's like, obviously I know you grew up in a time where like racism was, I don't even want to say more prevalent because it's like it's still prevalent now.
Right.
But it's like, how was that growing up for you, just being like lighter skin?
Well, what's interesting is, and I've talked to my friends about this and different people about this, is so you have the opposite. You're at the opposite end of the spectrum, obviously, because, your skin is of a darker tone and mine is lighter. So growing up, I went to a school that was predominantly, white, and there weren't a lot of black kids there. There was a small handful of Hispanic kids there and Filipino. But that's pretty much about it. But I always had the hardest time with the black girls. They were mean to me. Because I felt like I feel like it was like the white girls, the Mexican girls, the Filipino girls were my friends. That's who I met with. They were made friends with the easiest. The black girls were always not nice to me. They were like, "Oh, what are you mixed with? Oh, asking me about talking about my hair, and just it was like a jealousy thing. I feel like it was like they gave me a hard time. It was like being mad at me for looking like I looked or something. It was weird. It was weird. And I was like, okay. Like literally one girl when I was in middle school, I never forget this. There was this girl, she was a bully. She was a bully. And she came up to me and she said, "Oh, you just think you're cute. Because my hair was super duper long, you know. So I always wear it like either in a braid, or like a long braid, or, you know, just pulled back in a ponytail and a long braid. And she said, oh, you just think you cute because you got long hair. I'm going to come to school with a pair of scissors and cut it off. Now, what kind of nonsense is that? So I was like, okay, I don't even know you. Like, I literally didn't even know this girl's name. So this is the type of thing, just telling these stories to say, these are the type of behavior I dealt with. So it was not fun.
That's interesting. So it was like you had the other end of the spectrum where it was like you were bullied or like had a hard time because of
the way I looked,
your features. Yeah.
And I'm like, but you know, and then some, not all the white people were nice. Now some but they weren't mean about it. They just were uneducated and ignorant. Because of course I did have the white girls like, oh, why is your hair so, if I wore it, you know, not braided, how'd you get your hair like that? You know, that whole thing. And we can get into that, you know. So I did have that too.
Yeah.
But they weren't mean about it. They were just inquisitive.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah. They weren't telling me they were going to cut my hair off with some scissors. You know what I'm saying? So I'm like, oh my goodness. You know.
Yeah. No, that's wild. It's interesting because, so for me, like, being, you know, dark-skinned, as a kid, and I think a lot of it did have to do with, like, being in predominantly white environments, because my elementary school and high school, well, my elementary and middle school, because if you watched our previous episode about, like, education and stuff, I told the story of, like, my experience at a private school. So K through 8th, I was at a predominantly white school. I was the only black kid for a long time, like a long time. There was finally one year, like in 6th grade or something, there was one other black kid that joined the class, and then he left. So I was always like the only black kid.
Which was crazy.
And so I think because of that, obviously it made me feel a little bit more like I stood out. And also just like, I don't know, growing up, there definitely was a sense of like, you know, I didn't know what colorism was. Like, we didn't really have that language, but I knew that if you had lighter skin, like you were deemed prettier or better or whatever. Like, having dark skin was not like, it wasn't like, oh, I love this. Like, I remember growing up, I wanted to be like lighter skin. Like,
So having a mother with lighter skin, how did that make you feel? Like, I've never asked you that question. I don't think I've ever asked you that question. So we're asking for first time here on the pod. How did that, saying that with other people, you know, but how did that feel having a mother that was lighter?
It was interesting because it was like, you know, I would look at you, I would look at my auntie, my grandma, like you guys were all lighter skinned.
Right. But your father wasn't.
Right. That's what I was going to say. But that's different because like you're my mom,
right.
So you're my first beauty standard, technically. You know what I'm saying? Like when I'm growing up, I'm looking at you.
You're looking at me.
Do your hair and makeup, and I'm looking at like you're the first.
So how did that feel?
Picture?
Were you? Yeah, that's what
I just. What were you gonna say?
No. Go ahead. I want you to answer first.
It was weird because it was like. I knew, like, I don't necessarily, like, hate my skin tone. Like, it's not that. But at the same time, it's like, but I wish I was light-skinned. Like, I feel like that would be better. But it was, like, I didn't even really know why. It was just, like, that's just what...
At that time.
That's just what consensus kind of was. Like, it was just, like... And that's, let's be realistic. That's kind of still what it is. Like, being lighter skin... and having certain features is still considered like more pretty or whatever. I mean, we're obviously coming away from that
because I'm always trying to get a freaking tan and be darker.
Right.
So that's crazy.
Yeah, but it's just interesting because it was like growing up. I think because the women in my life that I was really close to were lighter, and I was around you guys obviously all the time.
Right.
It was more of like. Wanting to be included, I guess. And you know what I mean?
Oh my goodness.
In a way. But it was also one of those things where it was like, it didn't bother me that bad, especially because, like you said, like my dad is really dark.
Right,
I have,
your
women on my
sisters.
dad's side of the family, that are darker skinned. And let's not say a name.
I'm sorry.
I'll bleep that out.
Okay.
I don't know.
Sorry. I didn't know that was an accident. Sorry.
Oh, but yeah, like, so, but yeah, like, different, there are a lot of different, family members, and even like friends that I have and family friends that I'm like, they're beautiful.
Yeah,
so,
well, you're beautiful.
Thank you. And it's like,
and so is your skin.
Thank you. I feel like I really embraced, my skin color and really started to love my skin in like high school, college. That's when I was like, okay, I like this,
And I think I tried to. I have a quick story. I'll tell in a minute. I tried to always talk to you about how beautiful your skin is.
You did
make you be comfortable.
Yeah.
With it. Love the skin you're in.
Yeah.
Because I knew that, you were at a school with all these, children that were different from you. Mm-hmm. And I just didn't ever want you to feel, I knew that was going to be at some point awkward for you. Mm-hmm. And I just wanted you to love who you were.
Yeah.
So I knew that was going to become challenging at some point.
Yeah.
So I felt like I was always talking to you about, your hair, your skin, and just, I wanted you to always love you.
Yeah.
And know you were beautiful.
Yeah. And you did. I feel like you were always like, you were always helping me with like my self-esteem and, telling me that I was beautiful and you always did that.
Let's be clear. And it didn't hurt that you were very loved at your school.
Yeah.
They loved you at your school. The staff and the kids.
Yeah.
In spite of your color. I feel like because you were so active and so smart, everybody loved you at your school. That's a fact. It's a fact.
Guess.
I'm not just saying that because president of the whole school. She was president of the whole school. They voted her.
She be gassing.
No, is that a fact? Is that a lie?
It's true.
She was voted in by all her peers as president of the whole entire school. So I think they loved you at your school. So,
they didn't look
at your color. They just loved you.
Well, I wouldn't go that far.
Okay, but they loved you.
Okay, yeah, we can say that.
I don't think they would have voted you as president if they didn't like you.
No, I agree, but I wouldn't say that color wasn't a factor.
Well, I'm just saying they liked you anyway.
Yeah.
Despite of your color being what it was.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. And also that's another thing that I just thought of was I never personally growing up, I never surprisingly too ever experienced any overt racism or comments about my skin either. There was a situation where there was a little girl in first grade, but it wasn't directly about my color though. She was just like, "You can't play with us because you're black," and I was like, "What?" What
and that was snipped right in the bud because the school does not play about that.
Yeah, that was handled.
And then I had a nice little side conversation with her mother.
Yeah. But it's interesting though too because I want us to get into hair too because hair is another big thing. Texturism is another big thing because something else that was interesting for me growing up was even though being dark skinned wasn't necessarily the in thing or super praised. I feel like me being dark skinned but then also having the hair texture that I have was interesting because growing up, people were always like, "Oh, what do you mix with? Are you Blasian? Are you black and Korean? Are you So it was interesting because especially with boys would always be on me about like my hair and like what do you mix with, and like it was obviously like now I know it was more of kind of like almost like a fetishization, like, oh, you look exotic type thing, which is like, okay, that's not like, don't do that. But back then it was just like,
that's so funny.
What is that?
Right.
So do you feel, I know you were mentioning like when you were growing up, you know, there were people that would be like, you know, commenting on your hair stuff. But what was that like for you? Because you especially growing up, you have eyelash, especially growing up, you know, being like mixed, how was that for you?
Boy, all the time, like everywhere I would go, school or not, but for sure in school, you know, until, you know, everyone knew. But yeah, I got that a lot from boys and girls. You know, the whole, and here's the one that would give, what are you? A human being? Like, that was so irritating sometimes. It just got old, you know what I mean? Yeah. And it's like, and then it was, you know, what are you mixed with? Yeah, all the time. Yeah. And I'm just like,
how would you answer people? Would you say?
Sometimes, depending on what mood I was in, or who it was, I would get annoyed.
I was like, you probably wouldn't get.
You know my personality.
Yeah.
I literally told somebody would say a human being and just walk off. I was annoyed, like, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. Like, or sometimes, you know, I would just tell people sometimes, but. You know, or you get people that want to guess and come up to you and say, "Oh, what are you, Nicaraguan?" Like they're trying to get random. I've been called everything under the sun, literally.
I'm trying to guess the country.
Like what? Like, oh my God, I've been called everything you could literally think of. Yeah, like every country. Like
that's crazy.
Literally, you name it. I've been asked if I was that.
Yeah,
and I'm like, okay, how about you just ask me? You know, so yeah, it's funny. So, but yeah, that would happen. Yeah. And here's the thing, depending on how I wear my hair, I get called something
different.
Yeah. When they're trying to do their guessing games.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay. But yeah, it was, white people would ask me, Hispanic people would ask me, any race would ask me. It's every race asking me.
So I'm curious, just getting into hair now, because again, me, like growing up, your hair texture was like the ideal hair texture, in my opinion. Like I just thought,
everybody says, right? Like, you gotta take care of it.
because so mom has like just very like curly wave, especially when it's long. And like when I was growing up and like when I was a baby, it was like super long, like down to your waist. So to me, you had like the ideal, like, oh my gosh, it's just like curly and like, you know, soft and it's long, like, you know, the ideal hair type. But for you personally, did you feel like you had the ideal hair type? Like, did you love your hair? Did you hate your hair? Did you ever do anything to it to like,
that's so funny,
change it?
That. Oh my God. So it's so funny. You know, I feel like whatever hair people have, you want the opposite. You do.
We always want what we don't have.
It's whatever. I hated my hair when
which
I was
is
growing
crazy
to
me.
I hated it.
That is crazy to me.
I literally hated it. Growing up, when I was in
crazy.
Middle school and high school, I hated it.
Oh my gosh.
I literally hated it because I wanted my hair to be straight.
Okay.
And getting my hair straight, getting my hair bone straight is like good luck. Mm-hmm. It's so thick. And I have to work. Okay, so here's another side note. Growing up, there was no flat iron.
Right. You had to get that
I wish someone could have come out with a flat iron back then.
Right.
Because, honey, that was not a thing. I wish it was, but no. So if you wanted your hair straight, you're going to have to get it pressed. And you're going to have to go to the shop. Mm-hmm. And so you just have to blow dry it and then use a curling iron. Have you seen my hair lately? Trying to do a blow dry and get this stuff? No.
Yeah.
And by the end of the day, my hair is looking like Chaka Khan trying to get this stuff straight. So it was just terrible. I hated it. And,
that's so
back
funny.
then, that's what everyone was wearing, these, hair straight and long and, all this. And my mom wouldn't let me put any, everybody was getting a perm back then to get their hair bone straight. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. All the girls of color. Mm-hmm. And my mom was like, a perm? You're not putting no perm in your... Are you crazy? So I was like, but Mom, if I get a perm, it'll be real straight.
Yeah.
And then I don't have to blow dry. And she didn't really want me to blow dry it too much. She's like, oh, that heat's not good for your hair, you know.
Yeah.
And I'm like, but it can be real straight if I do that. And she was like, don't, no, it's not going to happen.
Yeah.
So I hated it because I wanted it to be like silky and straight and, you know. So she let me press it a couple times, but that didn't stay, you know.
Yeah.
Like I said, you know, you sweat a little bit, go to PE a couple times and, you know, there's the end of that.
Yeah.
So, but anyway, so no, I didn't like it. But as I started to get older, I started to embrace it a little more. Mm-hmm. You know, and then, you know, curly hair started to be a little more, you know, the thing.
Right.
And then I started to, you know, embrace it a little more. But I always wanted my hair to be straight because I had curly hair.
Yeah, you just want the opposite.
Total opposite. And so, yeah, it wasn't until I became an adult, I would say, that I started to enjoy my hair more. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I feel like that's pretty similar for me because same thing, like growing up, like I said, I always loved your hair, like your texture, because I feel like my hair, you know, is super curly, but it's a different texture. Mm-hmm. And so growing up, I was like, you know, I like the curls, they're cute, but I wish they were a little looser. And then I remember when I got to middle school, that's when I came to, you know, I was like, I want a perm. Like, please let me get a perm. And when I was 12, that was when I got my first relaxer, technically. And I thought the very first time that I got my relaxer, I thought it was gonna be that. Like, just give me some, like, keep some waves. There was no waves. There was no curls. It was bone straight. And I was like, okay, this isn't really what I was expecting. But it's straight, like, it's soft and it, you know, whatever. So I would say for the first, like, year that I had it, it was cool and I enjoyed it. But then I was like, okay, but my hair, like, there's no curl whatsoever.
None.
And then, like, the maintenance for the perm was crazy. And then the other thing is, like, because it's so damaging, it wasn't growing. Like, it's growing, but your ends are so fried that every time I went, she has to, you know, keep cutting. And I'm like, my hair is not getting any longer. And so I just was not enjoying that. And so I kept getting a relaxer all the way up until like my junior year of college, I want to say, because I kept getting it like all through high school, and then probably like sophomore, junior year of college, I was like, okay, I'm over this. Like, I do kind of miss my curls. And I have to say, I think a big part of that was an influence was the fact that curly hair was starting to be like in, and seeing, you know, influencers, YouTubers, you know, just more representation of girls with curly hair, girls with coarser hair. Like, it was like, okay, I'm starting to see representation, and it does matter. Like, I feel like when you see people who look like you on TV, on billboards, magazines, social media, whatever it is, it does make a difference, and it does do something to your self-esteem, whether good or bad. And so the fact that I was starting to see more like curly hair representation, I was like, oh, I kind of do miss my curls. Like, yeah, I have pretty hair. Like, my hair looks like hers, or my hair looks kind of like that. Like, and so that's what made me want to transition. So yeah, like my junior year of college, I just started, you know, transitioning, which if you're not familiar with that, it's just like you basically just let the relaxer grow out of your hair.
I remember that.
And
it
either
was pretty when you were I remember when you did that.
Yeah.
It looked pretty.
Because it's either you chop it all off, like you chop the relaxed part off, or you just like let your natural hair keep growing and then you like gradually cut off the ends. I wasn't trying to do a big chop because I didn't want to have super, super short hair. I was too scared to do that. But I was like, okay, I'm going to go ahead and like transition for a year or two and then I'll cut it. And then I remember right after graduation, I remember being at grandma's and I just cut it. I cut off all the relaxed ends and my hair was like probably like bob length or like a little bit longer.
But it
was cute. Like I could still
like
put it I could still put it in like a ponytail and stuff.
Yeah.
And I've been natural ever since. Like I feel like, you know, now I really embrace my hair. I love my hair. I love my curls.
Look how long it is.
It's grown a lot. It's healthy. And don't get me wrong, like I dye it sometimes. I, you know, put heat on it, whatever. I'm not like a super, super strict natural. But I'm just glad that I'm at the place where it's like, no, I really do love my hair and I love experimenting with it. And I'm just glad that I'm in a place where it's like my hair doesn't bother me, because I feel like it used to bother me,
right?
And I didn't used to like it, right? And I'm glad that I do now. So yeah, so that was my hair journey over the years. But yeah, I'm glad that now, just kind of moving into today and current times and current beauty standards, I will say I'm glad that we're moving into more of an inclusive space, just all around. Like, you know, when you're looking at social media, magazines, you're looking at models, you're looking at just representation. I feel like there is so much more representation. Even the fact, like, you look at somebody like Winnie Harlow, who has vitiligo, and how big of a supermodel she is, or like just these different people where it's like, when I was growing up, being a kid, I would have never thought I'd see somebody like that.
Right.
You know what I mean? So I do appreciate the fact that we are in like a more inclusive space. I do think there's some more work that needs to be done. And you know, we can always be better with inclusivity, but I think we're on the right track. I think we're getting there. Too. I think we're getting there. So too. Yeah. It's definitely a lot better. So yeah, my main thing is I just want people to, you know, feel good about themselves, feel good in the skin that you're in. Again, going back to kind of, you know, plastics and enhancements and things like that. If there's something you want to change, I think you should. Just, you know the risks, know what you're getting into, and really think about, you know, if it's worth it or not. But yeah, that's my 2 cents on beauty standards. Do you have anything else you want to add?
No, I can't think of anything.
Good? Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that concludes episode 10. Thank you for tuning in. Please comment. We definitely want to hear your thoughts and your opinions on this one. Yes. I know that, you know, beauty standards and these conversations can be kind of a hot topic sometimes, but we're definitely interested in knowing what you think and what you have to say. Please subscribe, turn on your post notifications, because we post new episodes every Sunday. Like this video if you like this video, and again, thank you for tuning in. We appreciate you. And until next time, cheers.
Cheers. And you're all beautiful.
You're beautiful. You're gorgeous.
Just know you're beautiful.
Cheers to that.